What's up, folks? My name is Rasam Bahati, born and raised in Compton, California, where at the young age of 11 years old, I found the sport of track cycling. 10 national titles later, I launched the Bahati Foundation to help marginalized communities rise above their circumstances. But today, I ride for fun, fitness, and community, all while representing brands that I love so much in the industry and making cool content. All right, we're back with another Chocolate Rocket session here at Tour of America's Dairyland. This is my third day, and we're in Shorewood, old school Shorewood course, the same direction as they used to race back in the day during Super Week. I was really looking forward to this race. We were a little under the gun with weather. It looked like the weather was going to turn sour and rain on us, and actually it did. It started to sprinkle a little bit, and it was kind of weird. Only the front side was wet and not the back side. So just giving you a quick preview of the course right here. Between 1 and 2, it actually looks kind of smooth, but it's not smooth at all. It's super bumpy. It has these like lips everywhere. This corner is not as tight as it looks. We're going fairly slow right now, so it's pretty bunched up. But every race, it started pretty fast because there was a sprint point for the Quick Trip sprint jersey. And so they would ring it on the second lap and get scored on the third lap. And there's Chris Black telling me to get in there, one of our officials from Southern California, spends a lot of time out in the Midwest. Has been officiating out there for a very long time, actually, even back during Super Week days. So you can tell already, strung out. There's like 70, 80 riders, and I am tail gunning it right now. I know that I can move up, and I'm letting like the fireworks settle from the first sprint, which is getting ready to happen momentarily. We had Chad Birdman behind by a point. And it was a really close race between our team and Methods to Winning with one of their riders, Spencer, and it came down to the last day, but we'll cover that when we get there. So yeah, pretty much straightforward. The smoothest part of the race was actually this last section here, going into turn 4. This straightaway wasn't so bad. They did some patchwork there, but nothing bad at all. Really super fast course. You could see within the sky there, if you just look up, how like hazy it is. So I'm just hoping it doesn't rain, because my PSI on my tires are not really set up for rain, and this is not 2013 when I could pull over and let some air out, probably get dropped. Look at this line. So that was a full lap, and just kind of cutting through the race here. At this point, I'm about 15 minutes in. I go up to Marco right there. He's my main lead out guy. He's my last guy. And I just tell him, let's start moving up. So I'm picking a hot route, trying to be as safe as possible, but also, more importantly, in this situation, more efficient. I want to be as efficient as possible, not use a lot of energy to move up. Big field, speeds are high, and the advantage right now is that we are going fairly slow, and I could use the corners to make up some time or some spots. So as you can see, kind of working my way through the peloton. Marco's right on my wheel, and then it became one point. I'm not exactly sure where it happened or what I hit, but my handlebars dropped, and it was right at the point where we had just got to the front, like within the first, 20, 25 riders. I think it dropped right here, actually. These crosswalks had these huge lips on it, and if you're riding in the hoods, you're putting a lot of pressure on your handlebars in the hoods, and I think it was just too much weight. My big muscle arms made the handlebars drop. So yeah, you can see right here, I'm in the top 20, 25 riders, and so that effort that we use to get to the front, Marco's still shadowing the wheel so he can get towards the front with me. It was over because I needed to fix my bike. It was nothing I can do. Like, if I didn't tighten the handlebars up, I couldn't finish the race competitively. Like, there's no way I could have sprinted. So a lap before this moment, I had yelled to the pit, hey, can I get a multi-tool So a couple laps went by. So here's the rule, and I found this out later. The pit themselves could not assist me. They could not, the main mechanic in the pit could not assist me. So that attempt, I actually dropped the multi-tool, slowed down a lot more, and got one the following lap. So the rule is they can't help me. Jose wasn't working in any physical capacity with the race, so he was basically a spectator handing me a multi-tool. So I had to take my computer off my mount and get to cranking. And so at this time, though, we're going fast. I don't have any metrics up, but we're going like 28 miles an hour right now, 27, 28 miles an hour. And I'm looking up, trying to get this thing in, looking up, trying to get it in. I finally get the top two tighten, but it was hard to get underneath because of my computer mount was in the way. So I really just took a gamble and said, you know what, I'm going to over tighten the top and just hope this thing doesn't bust up, you know, during the course, during the race. So I got it tight, and I got to get back in the field. They're moving away from me. So quick little effort, and I'm going to slide myself right back into the field. And then as I come around turn 4, I was able to give that wrench back to Jose. So Jose and I go way back. Man, he's been around the scene too for a long time. Been a mechanic, ex-racer, and just all-around good guy. So it was great to see him. He showed up at the perfect time, because without him, I don't know, I would have had to maybe, my only alternative to the handlebars was that I would just hold on in the drops, because you have a little bit more control over what's going on. So I gave the tool back, and we're back in business. You can see the lens on my helmet is starting to get a little wet, so the rain is starting to come down. And this one, I started to freak out a little bit. I need to get towards the front now, because if it starts to dump, you don't want to be in the back. You want to save. It's so much harder being in the back of a wet field, you know, because once it starts raining and the pecking order is set with how people are taking corners and stuff like that, you can only go so fast. So I'm using a big effort here to move up. You can see I made about 20 spots already, and I'm continuing to go towards the front. I'm not going to take too many risks right here. There's no need to like crash myself or crash anyone else, but I just picked a spot that was good, and I was able to go from like 50 guys back to top 10. So didn't waste a lot of energy, and I'm in the mix, so I'm happy. You know, I don't know if it's going to come down or not, but I'm in a good position to make sure that if it does start to rain, at least I'm in a position where I can pick my own lines. Remember, I talked about my tires being overinflated for rain, for wet roads, I should say. But all in all, we were pretty good. It did start to rain a little bit, but it was so warm out and humid, it actually dried up nicely. So there's Jaden Yeager, my teammate from last year, Methods to Winning. He's on the front just setting this brutal pace. You know, it's not easy to follow him. He's very consistent when it comes to the watts, and he's also a very good bike handler. He can corner pretty well. So you can see one of the White brothers on his wheel, and Jaden just absolutely, I don't know, like laid the stick. But these guys play so many games. Like, he's not even Jaden's teammate, but he's letting the gap open up. Like, it's so frustrating racing with him. But the icing on the cake is always when you kick their ass. So they can play all the games they want. I just love when we stick it to them. So that's Brian Hill. That's our locomotive right there on the front. So he closed the gap. So the order is Brian, Josh Drake, Marco Lydia, myself, and then sitting in second place overall is Chad Berzalowski. We call him Birdman. So right here, we're not really clean, kind of some funky lines being taken. So when you're doing a lead out, you want to be as smooth as possible. You want to make sure the second guy is smooth, so the third guy can be smooth, and the fourth guy will be smooth. So if it's wonky from the start, it's going to be wonky at the back. And so we're doing a good job right here, though, riding on the right side of the road. You can see us, or I should say the left side, but it's the proper side of the road. You can see us making sure that we're protecting the outside and taking the corners at the proper speed and proper time, so we're not getting swarmed. Straight back to the left. And here's where things get interesting. If you look in my rear view camera, there's going to be a big attack that's coming right here by Brendan Hausler. and boom, he goes. He takes another rider with him. Now, keep in mind, we're not going slow. This is 29, 30 miles an hour. So huge effort by these guys. And you can hear me saying, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. Just keep the pace, because I have faith that we can bring them back. So Brian stayed on the gas, which was absolutely perfect. Turn that corner, go straight to the left so we can protect ourselves. Chad is on my wheel, looking fine, chewing spearmint bubblegum as always for some reason. And I told Marco he needs to grow a little bit, because he's actually he's a great lead out guy, but just there's such a big height difference. It's you notice that when you get up to speed. So we're trying to get Brian to get back in. We're yelling at him like, just give me one more pull. And what happened, the organization fell apart right here. Drake actually went too hard, and so if he would have just rolled through easily, Brian would have been able to get back on. So that didn't happen. And full disclaimer, this is the first time Josh has raced with us. He's a brand new rider. He's got a lot of talent, so a lot of things to learn. But I'll tell you what, even though he disrupted the lead out a little bit right there with not allowing Brian to get back in, he was an absolute savior for this race. The pull that he took from when he took off right there from turn 2, he absolutely destroyed our legs and also destroyed the field. I mean, look at the field, absolutely strung out just from tip to tip. And he's doing an excellent job keeping the pace just high enough. I don't think he's on the rivet yet, but he's getting close to making sure we stay within reach of the two riders, because we're going to be seeing one lap to go right here. So it's like all hands on deck. You can't mess around. And we're yelling, Marco's yelling, we need you to the corner. Get all the way to the corner. Keep going. And those are the things that we were missing in some of our other races, was just communication. I think part of it, I take the blame. I just take for granted that people know what they're doing. But everyone hasn't been racing for 20 plus years. So been a little bit more vocal. Bell lap right here and absolutely digging them. Now I know he's on the rivet, and he did honestly just an incredible job. So he's going to be done right here. Flicks, our two leaders are in plain sight. So now I've got to make a pivot. I'm too close to the front. And so I tell Birdman to come around me, which was perfect. So I don't have a sweeper anymore, which is totally fine. I can tell you what, there were some doubts in my mind that I could actually win this race, even if we caught them. The legs just didn't feel as good as they needed to feel. I like to get to the line and start my sprint at about 80%. I think I'm already at 90% right here. And so Marco does his dig. He had a little bit more in the tank, but Birdman just was itching and chomping at the bit to get on the front. So he gets on the front, and now it's game on. It's like all I'm doing is trying to relax myself, deep breaths, making sure I can take some pedal strokes off if I can. But at this point, I can't. So I'm going to have to take a couple pedal strokes off in this corner. So he pedals hard through the corner, and I take a couple pedal strokes off. That's why you see the gap open up a little bit. And I take a couple pedal strokes off again. Right here is a tailwind. Best pavement that you're going to get. And so now I'm watching. I just know the swarm is coming, right? So if you check out my rear view camera or rear facing camera, here comes Bumgardner, which is fine. Now I'm giving a gap because I want to slide in on Bumgardner. It's such a long sprint, right? You come out of this corner, it's like 300, easy 300 plus. So I thought I was going to just get on the pedals and just kind of ride it a little bit. Bumgardner's sprinting from the gun. And so I get here and I'm not really moving, but then I had a little extra kick and I was able to smell that line and get to the finish line and take the win. Really happy with this one because, man, I was tired. But shout out to the team. We did a great job, and thanks for watching.